afternoon. We are here on a beautiful day on Belle Isle, which of course is French for beautiful island. And we are in a beautiful boat, a 1976 Chrysler Cordoba. And inside you will find rich Corinthian leather, which is actually not from Corinth, it's from Newark, New Jersey. And in fact, it's not even leather because these seats in this car are vinyl. But that's the line that this car is famous for. And please excuse the extremely relaxed driving position because the power seat, no worky. So we are just mobbing this car today. The Chrysler Cordoba is from the middle 70s. They made it from 75 to 79. And it's most known today for those corny commercials with actor Ricardo Montalban, who was the spokesman for a long time for Chrysler. But what you might not know is that this car saved Chrysler. Even though we look at this car today and we think this thing's a land boat, it's huge. It was actually a mid-size for the time, and it was Chrysler's first small car. See, before that point, all through history, all the Chryslers had been full-size, big boy cars. This was the first time that they applied the Chrysler formula to a two-door personal coupe. And while it's not small or really sporty, it definitely was a sales success. In fact, they sold 150,000 of these the first year. In the best year, they sold 183,000. And during the time that the Cordoba was produced, it accounted for more than half of all Chrysler sales. It was absolute barn burner of a success. This car is not quite standard because it's an actual show car. It was on the auto show circuit. For example, the two-tone paint, the silver and black, is not production. And these wheels are not production items either. But this is an actual show car showing 59,000 miles. It's got some pretty interesting options. One of the cool things I like about Cordoba is that you got full instrumentation in an era where that was not quite expected. In fact, everything you see is standard except for the tach. Tachometers were optional, and this one's actually not working today, so please ignore that. But the oil gauge, fuel, temp, alternator, it was uncommon for American cars at the time to have full instrumentation. Cordoba had it because this was a luxury car in a segment that kind of had to be affordable, not completely out of reach, but also, had to provide some luxury. Interesting thing about this car is that the design of the car, as you see, it was originally intended to be the next generation Plymouth Sebring, or Sebring. Product planners saw this thing and thought, wait, this thing is way too stylish to be a Plymouth, let's make it a Chrysler. And so that is how the Cordoba came about. And now we need to talk about that name, Cordoba. There is, of course, Cordoba, Spain. Ricardo Montalban is Spanish. And there's a lot of Spanish Baroque influences both in this car and in the advertisements that played during this car's run. However, on the hood ornament, if you squint, you might notice there is a coin there that says Cordoba. That is a stylized version of a Cordoban real, which is a coin. But interestingly, it is an Argentinian real, not a Spanish one, because Cordoba is also a region in Argentina. So, is the Cordoba based on the Spanish Cordoba or the Argentinian Cordoba? You be the judge. What is it like to drive this car? Well, like my driving position would suggest, it's extremely relaxed. It feels wrong to drive it without smoking a cigarette, as I assume it's most naturally to be driven like that. But it's smooth, it's comfortable, it's quiet, power seats, power windows, power brakes, power steering. It's so easy. And in the tumultuous times of the mid-70s, when they couldn't really bank on performance, luxury is what car makers had to offer. And the Cordoba, for the time and for the price, is a luxurious experience. Now, this is a 76 Cordoba, and in my opinion, the good years are from 75 to 78, because in 78, they went to a hideous rectangular headlight design, which did not suit the face of the car. Sales fell precipitously after the fact and never recovered. I prefer the round headlight design of this car. This personal luxury car class, despite being pretty big for our standards, it's about the size of a Roadrunner if you're familiar with that. It's horrifically inefficient in its use of space. The back seat has almost no room at all. The trunk is the same size as a compact car's trunk for the same period. And it has a huge hood under which resides nothing special. The Cordoba only ever came with 3 engines, a 318, a 360, and a 400 big block. all three of which were not really performance engines. They're just different sizes of noise and fuel economy offered no real power. We've got 170 net horsepower under the hood from this 360, but I guess it's not a 318, so it could be worse. That's not why you buy this car. You don't buy this car to hustle it, you buy this car to cruise. I'm really glad that Chrysler brought this car out for us to try out today, because it's one thing to show out the glory year cars from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, when things are really kicking, but it takes some guts to bring out a car from the mid-70s, because not everyone loves this era of cars. I enjoy this era of cars. I'm glad Chrysler brought it out and that they're proud of this thing, because even though the advertisements are cheesy and some of the design touches are a little bit much today, this was a really important car in Chrysler's history. And out here at the Chrysler 100th anniversary event, you can't understand the full history of Chrysler unless you understand the Cordoba, because this car carried Chrysler through the middle 1970s. We are out here driving a whole manner of cars, including the first Chrysler ever made, the turbine car, the Cordoba, and a few others. So check out our website for all kinds of articles and reviews on all these other cars. But for now, I'm going to enjoy the rich Corinthian vinyl.